Hey, what's up? Tasha here, and today we're going to talk about how to work with those close to you without ruining your relationship. In network marketing industry, right, there's a lot of talk about working with friends and family. I see a lot of ads in the newsfeed, how to grow your network marketing team without bothering your friends and family. And I have just such a different attitude about this. I love working with the people that I care about, and there's a lot of different reasons for this. First, mostly I just think it's fun. We're all very, very busy, and if I didn't work with some of my friends, then I don't know when I would be able to talk to them or spend time with them. And so for me personally, this is something that's really, really important. But because I've always worked with friends my entire career, I've learned a lot. I've made some mistakes. I've done some things really, really well. And I want to make sure that I give you some of that wisdom today, because friends and family is likely a part of your business. Now, all relationships, some people really resist this because it can be messy and lead to issues, but all relationships are messy and lead to issues. There are so many added benefits to working with people that you love that I believe it outweighs the messiness. As long as everyone is mature. And so I'll kind of add this caveat that if you're going to work with friends and family, make sure that they are mature, kind, that they fit the core values of the business that you want to have. If you wouldn't recruit them if they weren't your friend and family, probably shouldn't recruit them if they are your friend and family. So an example of this would be, I talk about, Charlie, my husband, and I, based on his personality, based on his desires, based on his interests, if we were not married and he didn't own half the company, then I wouldn't hire him as a sales and leadership coach, because that's really not what he would want to be doing. And so because he's my husband, that doesn't automatically make him qualified to be a sales and leadership coach. So if they don't meet the core values of your organization, I would not recommend bringing them in, because that is a recipe for disaster. But if your core values are caring about people, following through on your commitments, being kind and loving and things like that, and they meet those qualifications, I think go for it. And let's follow some tips. Before we get into some tips on how to do this, let's start about talking about why. One of my favorite quote that I use in coaching on recruiting is this quote by Glennon Doyle. If you're standing with other women in a circle and there's a woman standing alone in your circle's vicinity, the thing to do is notice her, smile at her, move over a bit and say, "Hi, come join us." Even if she decides not to join your circle, even if she looks at you like you're crazy, inviting her is still the thing to do. This advice is meant for both literal and figurative circles. Widen your circle all the time. I love this when I coach on recruiting, because I want people to think of their team as a party that you invite people to. And it's up to people if they want to join and how much they want to be involved in the party. I want to ask you, though, if you have a party and you didn't invite your best friend, now maybe your best friend couldn't make it. Maybe your best friend would have to fly very far, or it just would not work. But if you didn't invite them, that would be tricky. I want to encourage you to invite them for their sake, not as much for your sake, although there are benefits to both of you. Number 2 is a Bible verse, but it's one of my favorite, and I think there's a lot of wisdom here. Ecclesiastes 4:12. The one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Your personal retention will go up if you have another person on your team. You're going to be more likely to do a good job. And then that kind of leads to Gallup's research. Gallup's research says it's just good business sense to have friends at work. A stat for you: women who strongly believe that they have the best friend at work are more than twice as likely to be engaged compared to women who say otherwise. And the reason is this, and I'll continue to quote their study: when employees possess a deep sense of affiliation with their team members, they're driven to take positive actions that benefit the business, actions they might not otherwise even consider if they did not have strong relationships with their coworkers. And I just think that's so important. I've noticed this for myself, in previous jobs, but also currently in Emerge, right? When we have friends at work, we're more like, when I bring up to Karen, okay, I have this trip and I need you to go. It's no longer, oh, shoot, man, I have another work travel, that stinks. Where it's like, awesome, we get to see each other. And it makes the whole experience and the performance at those events that we host just so much better and so much more fun. And I love that. So now you might be thinking, okay, you convinced me, but how do I make sure this isn't a landmine? So skill up, my friends. Just skill up. Here are my 4 tips. Number 1, use the StrengthsFinder assessment, also through Gallup, to reinforce why you believe that person will be successful. Give real evidence to encourage them instead of, I love you, so you'll do great. That doesn't quite do the trick. I had a team member that was really discouraged the other day. And what I did, instead of saying, no, it's fine, you're going to do awesome and you're great and whatever, I actually went to their StrengthsFinder profile and said, you are awesome because, and I pulled out their innate talents and I reminded them that like who they were in that respects, right? That's what made them valuable in the business. And it was really, really powerful. Number 2, set clear boundaries. Have scheduled time for business. Off hours are for personal time. So if they bring up the business during personal time, that's cool. I'd roll with it if I were you. But if you're going to bring it up, ask permission. Hey, is it cool if I ask you a couple quick questions about the business right now? Or can we talk about this for a few minutes, and get that permission so they don't feel blindsided. The worst thing to do is think your friend is calling when your upline is calling and you get blindsided, and we want to make sure we create safety for that. And so sometimes what I'll do is I'll say, hey, I need to talk to you about a work thing. Do you have time? Or I'll actually say, hey, your friend misses you. Can we, can we connect and talk about other stuff? And so be clear on who's outreaching, their friend or their business partner. Number 3 tip, be authentic. This is the one I struggle with the most. I'm more than happy to carry my friends' burdens, but not so quick to share mine with others. I don't want to discourage them. I see a lot of pride, and I take a lot of pride in being an encourager. But remember, they're your friends and your loved ones first. And if they are that good of a friend, they can handle when you are frustrated and discouraged and lift you up as well. If you throw up your walls, and this is something from experience, they will know. And that is the part that will hurt your relationship, not the authenticity. Now, we don't want to be complainers all the time and actually drag them down. And so this is where I think investing in your personal growth is really, really important. For me, Karen, who's my business partner here at Emerge, we are very, very good friends, but I have made an investment in my personal coaching. I don't rely on her for everything. I make sure that I have an outlet for my personal coaching so that I can develop to be the best leader that I can, so that when I'm really quite a disaster, I can sort it out in a different environment and not give that burden over. But we don't want to keep secrets about discouragement. I just noticed those blow up in my face every single time. But part of the way to make this successful is invest in your own professional development so that they are not your sole source of professional development. And that includes if you are in the downline of someone you love. Invest in your own personal and professional development so they're not the source there. That will greatly improve your relationship. Number 4, hold them loosely. Network marketing is a season for many, many people. Your loved one may not make this a career, or they might, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that they don't care about you. It doesn't mean that you're a bad friend. It just means that network marketing is not a permanent situation for most people. Do not stay in the same thing in any career for 30 years or so. So every quarter, check in to see how do they feel about how much money they're making. How do they feel about their business in general? Just how do they feel things are going, and check in with them because you love them, and never, ever, ever let them quit on a bad day. If they want to quit on a good day, I think it's important that you don't guilt and shame them into staying forever. That is not good for your relationship, and we want to make sure that those open lines of communication are always there. So I hope that these tips were helpful for you on how to work with those close to you without ruining a relationship. Let me know what stood out to you. I'm always curious. on which parts were helpful or which parts you need a little bit more elaboration on. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video or listening, however you're consuming this. And I want to encourage you to go for it, because having a good friend at work is really awesome. And I want to make sure that you have that in your business of your dreams, that you have all of those things. So that's it for me today. Hope you have a great rest of the day.